I just helped this player, and this player become complete unstoppable on offense in college football 27 by simply implementing the 5 secret tips I'm breaking down in this video. Whether you want to know the way to make your blocking 10 times better or the best settings to use, this is going to be the perfect video for you, so don't skip out on any of the tips. Let's jump right into it. The first tip I want to break down is how you can glitch man coverage over the top for easy touchdowns here in CFB 27. Let me show you. Alright, so the play that I'm going to be showcasing here is going to be from my Washington State offensive ebook. It's going to be motion clear halfback seam from the Bunch X Nasty play. Now, please understand that this applies to really any auto motion wheel in this game. That's what we're breaking down Rodgers' route right here. So any auto motion wheel or sometimes even halfback wheels have the opportunity to break man defense. So clearly you can see they're going to be in man coverage here. The combo that I like using the most is something like this, a mesh underneath and then a deep post and then my wheel. But we bring our guy in motion, and I want you to recognize that this isn't going to happen every time where you're going to have that just, well, it didn't happen that time, but where you're going to have an easy touchdown over the top. There will be times like right here where the defender does a good job of guarding it perfectly fine, and this is good defense. So there, we just had to pivot to our next route, which is why we like to have 3 other man-beating routes in the field for when our guy doesn't basically glitch out his defender. But we set it up the same way. Again, they're going to be in man. We're going to take the snap. Hopefully we can, that right there, that's kind of what I'm talking about, where basically what happens is he kind of hesitates a little bit, and so that allows for that guy to just run right by him. Now, I guess luckily for them right there, they actually had another defender in that area in cover 2 man, but you just see how, okay, we bring our guy in motion, and this happens all the time where this guy gets confused, stops, bumps, and then that's an easy gain. If I freeform that, I didn't see the defender, but if I did freeform it, see him, that probably would have just been an easy gain. But again, it's not going to happen every time, but you're going to see how, again, right here, they don't bump, and so he ends up guarding it. So really what I'm telling you is put the auto motion wheel on the field like you're seeing I'm doing here with whatever route concept you want to put on the field. Look to it first initially, but if he doesn't, like again right here, it happens again where we're just going to be able to lob that pass over the top and Green catch it for a touchdown. So I mean, 4 times we've called it, it's happened twice, hasn't happened twice, but the reality is to be able to have a walk-in touchdown 50% of the time against man coverage is a huge advantage for you if you simply just know that it's a possibility and how these routes get defended in man. These guys just stop for some reason looking at the ball when he has to get all the way out here. That allows for our receiver to run right by him for an easy touchdown over the top. So really, again, what I'm telling you, make sure, again, it's not from just this play here in Bunch Nasty. There's a lot of auto motion wheels in this game, but when you can, use those auto motion wheels, particularly against man coverage, you're going to notice how, from time to time, they're going to hesitate or they're going to bump, and you're just going to have an easy touchdown over the top. And if they don't, just look to some of your secondary routes, your drags, your ins, or your post routes. Alright, next I want to break down the best offensive settings you need to make sure you're using here at CFB 27. They're new to this game, and if you don't use them, you will be dropping passes and you will be getting sacked a whole lot more. Let me show you. Alright, so the setting we're breaking down first here is timing-based catching for offense. Alright, some people like using this on 0. Some people like using it on 10. I like using it on 10, but I can see the argument for 0. I'm actually going to put it on 0 here just so I can show you. Basically, when it's on 0, you're going to have to time every single pass, which is very similar to what you kind of already were doing. So if we take a look at what this really looks like here, we call it basically the same play. Timing every catch looks like I throw that pass and the meter, but that's the thing, the meter moves so fast, when you actually, are throwing, especially because you're throwing the ball right at 1 yard. And so it's like that meter moves really fast, but it's just a tap. And if you just tap it, you're going to be able to basically guarantee a green catch, which is going to a lot of the time give you a better rack animation as well. So we look at what this looks like again with our tight end here where there's no separation. And it's like if I were to, I just press the button. So I just press X right there to go for a rack catch. I'm actually going to put them in zone coverage right here just so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like when you're throwing to a wide open player. But again, really all you have to do when it's on 0 is just tap the button and you're gonna, a lot of the time get a green or a yellow. As long as you don't get a red, it's fine, but as long as you just use the tap method for those underneath passes, you're gonna be fine. Now, I don't really feel like you need to do that, because I don't really feel like you need to be able to green passes under 10. So really what I just end up doing is using it on 10. I just use it on 10 because now every pass that's past the line of scrimmage, I know that I'm going to have to time, for a big game. If I were to throw that running back kind of in route there, I know that I wouldn't need to time that because that pass is under 10 yards. But if I'm looking for like a post route, for example, right here, to this RB receiver, well, now I know that I'm going to have to throw that pass down the field and time it. So we take a look at what that looks like here. Take the snap, wait for my post route, and I throw it, and I get it in between the green, and then I'm able to bring it in. Some people tell you don't look at the meter. I actually do look at the meter pretty much every single time that I end up calling these plays and throwing the ball to my receivers, especially on deeper passes, because I want to make sure that it's in the green, and the meter doesn't move that fast to where you don't have to look at the meter. Boom, easy completion, get it in the green, and Bray Hubbard in particular is a player that has platinum knockout. So if you don't green those passes, you're not going to catch them, right? Another example would be, if they run man coverage here. I have a corner out on that, tight end. So we go ahead and take the snap, and now that corner route's going to be open. I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to near green that catch, and as long as you green it, you guarantee a catch. So what I recommend is 10 yards for your minimum throw distance. Hold or press the button that you want to throw to, and then hold the catch type that you want, and then release it in the green to hopefully guarantee a green and be able to catch those passes super often. But also what you see is if we're going to come into the next setting, which is going to be in our coaching adjustments here, and that's going to be called auto pass protection, untarget user defender, you need to make sure that this is off. If you go ahead and turn this on, I'm going to show you what happens here. Where I have untarget user defender on, they can basically either user a defensive lineman or get caught on a defensive lineman, and now you see how, look at our player, there's a flame icon over that D tackle. Right, and so a lot of the time that means he either walks in free like that for an easy sack, or it ends up messing up your entire pass protection, and they can just walk in free. Right, and so also what that means is they decide to user rush you now. Right, this would be 5-on-5 usually. Well, now they're just gonna walk in completely free, because you told your line, hey, don't block their user, and so it's like now they just don't block him, and they can walk in free for an easy, sack right there. Also, if we decide to run the ball, like we come into inside zone, if you have untarget user on, again, their user can just walk in free and be able to stop the run. Like, no one blocks him because you're telling your line not to. So please, please, please make sure you have untarget user defender off so that the flame icon isn't over their user's head, and you can get adequate pass protection and run blocking, from pretty much every single play that you're going to call. So bottom line here, the best offensive settings you need to make sure you're using timing-based catching on 10 yards, and then hold the button until it gets into the green, and then make sure you have untarget user defender off so their user doesn't walk in free if they're using a D lineman. Alright, so if you found those first two offensive tips helpful here in College Football 27, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down CFB 27 tips and tricks just like this every single day, and we're going to be doing it all year long, even when Madden 27 drops, and all your other favorite creators are off and away on that game. So make sure you're subscribed for daily content all year long. But if you're serious about transforming your offense or defense here in CFB 27, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CF University, where you get your first month for 20% off by using code YouTube at checkout. It has my brand new 4-3 defensive ebook, along with all my updated tips to keep you ahead of the competition and winning games regardless of the game mode that you're playing. You can save everything to your phone, including the plays, macros, everything you're going to need, so that you can always reference them during gameplay. Highly recommend you join CFU today at the link in the pinned comment, and let's jump right back into the video. Because next I want to break down a glitch that's going to make your blocking 10 times better, and it's really overpowered. Let me show you. Alright, so what we're going to be breaking down here is going to be aggressive blocking, alright, and why this is so good. So really what we're going to see right here is if I come into my coaching adjustments, I'm going to put my blocking on aggressive. It says you hold your blocks longer and you have an increased chance of a holding penalty. That's really not true, though, as you're going to see here. I don't know how someone just got hurt in the first play, but you don't really get called for holding penalties that often. Now, I'm going to come into one of the best runs here in the game, QB power RPO, but it's like this is not going to matter really the run that you're calling. Nothing really matters with this. Aggressive blocking overall is just really overpowered, and again, because you don't get called for holding penalties, while you end up getting a lot more pancakes. So what we're going to see if we just take a look at that, look at number 80. My tight end just ran up there and pancaked a dude. Again, you're going to just see this, how I have aggressive blocking on, and we'll probably count. Let's see. I'm going to try to score a touchdown here on this drive before I obviously get called for a holding penalty right here. It's like, I'm telling you guys, even 2 plays right there, it used to be like, I feel like 50% of the time, if you had your blocking on aggressive, you would get called for holding penalties. Now, I'm sure that eventually you're going to get called for one at kind of an unfortunate time here, but overall, like your blocks are just going to be, really, hard to be able to, shed here. If we look at the replay, we're just watching pancakes everywhere. Just running dudes complete, throwing them to the ground. I mean, like, it's just going to be an every play thing. And it's going to make it easier for your receivers to block. Your receivers, tight ends, are getting pancakes instead of just, your, offensive linemen. So we've called 3 plays here, no penalties, and we're going to see it again. Now, I could really just start speed boosting. I wish with this formation you could put a gadget player here. But we're just seeing how easy this is. 4 plays, you're not even paying the price at all for using one of the most broken features here in the game. 5 plays. Now, eventually, is that my quarterback getting tired here? Yeah, I guess if you run the quarterback, the entire game, you pay the price. But this is going to be play number 6. And once again, we're just throwing dudes to the ground. Like, this is ridiculous, guys. I mean, like, you never get called for holding penalties. You're just throwing dudes to the ground. Lanes are wide open for you to be able to run through. And there it is. 7 plays, 75 yards, or I think it was like 85 yards, a touchdown on the ground, running the ball straight through, no holding penalty. So if that's not enough to show you guys how good aggressive blocking is, again, it doesn't matter the run. Nothing really matters here with this. The team that you're using, start using aggressive blocking because you rarely get called for holding penalties, and it overall makes your blocking so much better. Alright, before I jump to those final 2 tips that you're absolutely not going to want to miss here in College Football 27, I wanted to remind you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be breaking down College Football 27 tips and tricks all year long to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. So what are you thinking? Go down below, hit that subscribe button today, and let's jump to those next 2 tips. Because that next tip that I'm breaking down is going to be how you can improve your pocket presence here in College Football 27. If you don't have a good pocket, you're going to be throwing red pass inaccurates all game long and blaming it on your offensive line when it's really your fault. Let me fix that for you. Alright, so again, this is another play and another tip here, actually, that doesn't matter the play that you're calling, the team, the formation, the playbook, nothing matters. Anytime you're passing the ball, you need to make sure you're having good pocket. So, again, I'm going to call a really good route concept here that is pretty much going to guarantee I have someone open, but yet if I drift too far back in the pocket, now when I go to throw that pass to RB, it's going to be an incomplete pass, or if that pass got thrown, it probably would have been an interception. So, again, we go with it again just to showcase that, yes, RB is going to be open here. Boom, throw it now. But now when I go to throw it, it's a red pass that gets sailed to the popcorn vendor. Like, it's just going nowhere. So you have to make sure that you're not doing that and you're actually stepping up in the pocket, and canceling your drop back to make sure that, you're actually able to throw passes. So I do just that, cancel my drop back, and now when I go to throw that pass, I'm able to green that pass using timing-based catching and reel that pass in. So it's to say that if you just drift too far back in the pocket on any throw, you're going to pay the price for it with inaccurate. So really all I'm doing here, I'm pressing A or X on PlayStation to snap the ball, and then I'm baby tapping my left stick up. It's just a baby tap. Cancel the drop back, and now I step up. Now, I will say that you have to flick it up a little bit harder and a little bit more in this game than you have had to in previous years, but it's just better to just do it and then cancel it. So you flick it to cancel your drop back, and then you let go of it to make sure that you're just standing there, and then when you need to take off is when you actually flick it all the way up and then run. So again, right here, all I did, take the snap, push it up a little bit here, and then stop, And so now my quarterback sets, and now I see that lane open right through the middle. None of my receivers are open, so I take off, slide down in the open field. But improving your pocket is so important. Another thing I see you guys do way too often is stepping towards your target unnecessarily. So if I caught a route concept like this and they run, cover 3 for example, I could just stand in the pocket and throw this pass to RB. But what you guys do is you drift all the way over here and then try to throw it, where now you're making it really easy for that defensive end who didn't even really win his pass rush rep. You make it really easy for him to just sack the quarterback, just like that. So it really just is to say, don't drift backwards, don't step to the left, don't step to the right, just cancel the drop back and stand tall in the center of the pocket, and then if you need to take off, you can, like right here, where you need to have an internal timer in your head though. You can't wait on routes to get open, because there will be times where your receivers get bumped, like what happened right here, where my receiver gets bumped once, this guy right here, boom, 1, and then he gets bumped again when he tries to cut. And so by that time, it's like, well, I'm already too far up in the pocket, I need to take off. And so that's exactly what I do. So you need to certainly have an internal timer. If you get 3 seconds to throw in this game, that's more than enough, and you need to be ready to get rid of the ball. Right here, they have a spy on the field, but I'm able to find my receiver only because I stepped all the way up in the pocket and made it very easy for myself to be able to find a target. So really, here in College Football 27, you need to work on your pocket presence, flicking the left stick up to cancel your drop back so you're not drifting back in the pocket and you're actually able to find your receivers down the field or take off with your quarterback. But that 5th and final tip that I want to break down here in this video is how you're going to make your RPO offense unstoppable by actually using the correct hot routes. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so there's a couple of different RPOs that I like hot routing, particularly from my Alabama offensive ebook. The first one here is shift RPO alert stick, and then there's another one, RPO read Y flat from trips tight end. So the one I'm going to be showing you here is going to be the one I just broke down, shift RPO alert stick. And what I'm telling you here is you can call the play, boom, you go ahead, shift into it, but all you want to do, put RB on a shriek, X on a flat. Because against a bunch of different defenses, particularly defenses where that linebacker is in the zone. So you see how that linebacker is in the flat zone off the ball right here? He is not going to be able to get all the way out here to be able to defend this flat. So essentially, you're just going to be able to outflank him to the sideline and then be able to catch this pass in stride for an easy pickup. Like literally 8 yards, and then I speed boosted here to pick up some extra yards as well. So hot routing your RPOs is really going to make it difficult for them to defend, because if I just call this play stock, this really isn't that good. Like, I mean, yeah, I think I could have probably thrown my speed out right there, but it's better to run a flat than a speed out, because there's no cut when you're calling the flat. He's just breaking it and making a beeline out here to the flat. Also, when they run like cover 2, for example, if you see that outside corner back pedal, this is another easy completion, where again, he's just standing still right there, and you're able to get it out for an easy completion. This is really, like I said, the same thing from the trips tight end RPO, where you're just able to get the ball after the flat really quickly instead of using bubbles, right? You don't necessarily want to use RPO bubbles when you could use RPO flats, and then also it makes it easier to just pick up more yards against really every defense that you're facing, right? So we go with another zone coverage look right here, also having this seam shriek available to you. So I can also put my receiver on a shriek, right, as well, where RB is going to be on a shriek right here and the seam is going to be open, and so now I just throw it for an easy gain down the middle and we're able to score a touchdown. So you can use the flat, you can use the shriek, you can even use a drag on the backside if you wanted to. Like I could put B on a drag right here and I could possibly hit that, or I could put him on like a smoke screen and just throw it. Probably not against man, but if you saw like backed off zone, you could throw that. So there's a lot of different options that you have when you're hot routing your RPOs, using shrieks, using flats, using drags, using outs. Just start customizing your RPOs instead of just leaving whatever route EA has on the field, because a lot of the time it's not that good. If they're an off man like right here, using a quick slant, and that's going to be, hopefully an easy completion. I actually think that would have been a catch in a game. But start using hot routed RPOs a lot more to open up your offense, make it really tough for the defense to be able to defend the sideline, and up the scene. Alright, so if you found that breakdown of 5 offensive tips to transform your game here in College Football 27, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down CFB 27 tips and tricks just like this every single day, all year long, to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you're serious about transforming your offense or your defense here in College Football 27, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CF University, where you can get your first month for 20% off by using code YouTube at checkout. It has my brand new 4-3 defensive ebook, along with all the updated tips that go along with the ebook on both sides of the ball to help you get better. You can save everything to your phone during gameplay, so you never have to go surfing through a video. So I highly recommend you join CFU today at the link in the pinned comment. And if you want to see a breakdown of what CFU actually looks like and what's inside, check out this short video I made for you right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.